Listen to that breathing. That's not sound design. That is a real diver, deep enough that everything your body relies on starts to fail. And what you're about to see isn't a shark. It's not a freak accident. It's worse. April 28, 2000, Dahab, Egypt. Yuri Lipski, 22 years old and a certified diving instructor, enters the blue hole with one tank, one camera, and one goal: film the arch. No backup gas, no staged cylinders, no buddy. Just a young diver with a camera chasing a shot that's tempted divers for years. The blue hole doesn't look dangerous. Warm water, crystal visibility. You can walk in from shore and be underwater in 30 seconds. That comfort is the trap. The main chamber drops over 330 feet. Near the surface, there's an easy exit, but that's not what pulls people down. What pulls them down is the arch, an 85-foot tunnel at 180 feet deep. On the other side, one of the most beautiful views in recreational diving: open blue, shafts of light. Recreational limits on regular air are around 130 feet. The arch sits at 180. If you want to see it on a single tank, you're already past the line where mistakes stop being flexible. Locals call it the diver's cemetery. Estimates of the number of deaths vary widely, often cited as well over 100, since reporting is inconsistent and not every incident is publicly documented. Here's what most videos skip. A local recovery diver named Tariq Omar met Yuri on the beach before this dive. Omar, a man who had pulled body after body from this same hole, told him, "Not yet. You're not ready. It would take weeks of preparation, technical training, and different gas mixtures." Yuri said he was only in town for the weekend, and he went anyway, alone. This dive kills through 3 traps. 1. Physics. Small buoyancy problems become a runaway descent. 2. Brain. Nitrogen narcosis dulls fear and warps judgment. 3. Breathing. Dense gas, CO2 buildup, panic that feeds itself. Any one of these can kill you. But on deep dives, they're rarely alone. They show up together, and when they stack, when physics triggers the brain trap, and the brain trap accelerates the breathing trap, recovery becomes almost impossible. This pattern has killed experienced divers for decades. And in Yuri's case, all 3 stacked before he was able to react accordingly. What you're about to see is Yuri Lipski's original camera footage. It was recovered the next day from 298 feet. The camera was still recording when they found it. This is real, and it's difficult to watch. Listen to the breathing as the dive progresses. It starts steady. By the end, it's irregular, labored, desperate. That sound tells the whole story. The first minute looks routine, a controlled descent into clear water. But at depth, small errors compound, buoyancy shifts, gas compresses. The deeper you go, the faster you sink. And unless you're actively correcting, you may not notice until the numbers on your computer don't make sense anymore. That's trap 1. He raises his wrist. The dive computer fills the frame. The numbers are climbing past where he should ever be. He sees it and keeps descending. At 130 feet, Yuri crosses the line where the gas starts affecting his brain. That's trap 2. Nitrogen narcosis. How it hits varies from person to person. Some divers feel nothing at 130 feet. Others are impaired at 100. But there's no reliable threshold, and that's what makes it dangerous. But here's what makes narcosis different from alcohol. Alcohol tells you something's wrong. You slur, you stumble. Narcosis tells you everything's fine. The impairment doesn't feel like impairment. It feels like calm. And you're making decisions while sinking toward a depth that can kill you. That's the trap of narcosis. It doesn't feel like impairment. It feels like clarity. This is what can lie to your brain at depth. Divers do reach these depths on a single tank, but the margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. There are gas mixtures better suited for deeper dives. Yuri wasn't using one. Yuri had none of that. 1 tank, 1 goal, no backup. What you're about to hear is the actual audio from Yuri's camera. Listen to the breathing. It starts normal, then it becomes labored, then it becomes a struggle. What you just heard was Yuri Lipski's final minutes. He left behind his camera, still recording, on its side now pointed at the sand. Particles drift through the frame like snow. A gloved hand enters the frame, shaking. A fin kicks weakly, stirring silt. At one point, the camera jolts hard. A sudden violent shake. Then stillness. The footage keeps rolling, pointed at the sand. And in that stillness, you understand the hardest thing about deep water. It gives you just enough time to think you still have a choice, right up until you don't. Yuri was recovered the next day by Tariq Omar, the same diver who had warned him and told him to wait, yet watched him walk into the water anyway. Omar says what haunts him isn't the recovery. He's done that before, many times. What haunts him is the footage. Yuri's mother was there when they tested the camera and pressed play. She saw the descent, the sinking, the stillness at the end. Omar said if he'd known the tape existed, he would have flooded it, destroyed it, spared her that. She didn't just lose her son. She was handed his final minutes, alone in the dark, at the bottom of a hole in the ocean, past any hope of rescue. That's not something you recover from. The blue hole keeps claiming divers for the same reason. Accessible enough to feel safe, deep enough to punish overconfidence instantly. After deaths like this, some operators tightened rules. But the blue hole is a shore dive. No one can stop you from entering. And every year, someone tries. If you take one thing from Yuri Lipski's camera, let it be this. At that depth, the margin for error is measured in seconds. And the danger isn't what's down there. It's what happens to your own mind while you're still awake. If you want to understand what the ocean becomes as you descend, watch my breakdown of the 5 scariest layers of the ocean. It's on your screen now. Subscribe to Below the Deep. See you in the deep.